everyone. Welcome to another TGIF episode of the Anti-Pharmacist podcast. Today is an episode like no other, okay? Because I will not be discussing any health issue per se today. What I want to do on today's episode, as the spirit leads, is to just tell you guys how to actually listen to this podcast. How to listen, not only on Spotify, but other podcast hosting platforms, okay? And so that you can share this with other people. And like I said on Monday, I want to make a shout out. Today is for shout out. I'll be calling out names because these people have surprised me. They have helped this podcast grow up to this point. Okay. So I'll be thanking them, just appreciating them for their support for this podcast up to this point. So without wasting much time, let me get right into it. So, guys, I'm going to tell you how to subscribe to Anti-Pharmacist Podcast, how to access it and listen to it, okay? So, just click on the link tree link and press any of those prompts. If you press the first one, it will take you straight to Spotify, okay? That is the hosting platform for the podcast. If you don't have Spotify app, you can download it from Google Play. And here's the thing, you don't have to go premium before you can listen to Anti-Pharmacist podcast. You can use the free version and you still be able to listen to Anti-Pharmacist podcast. All you have to do is just follow Anti-Pharmacist podcast on Spotify. Each time I release a new episode, you'll be able to access it. It will notify you, okay? It will just come out of your recent or your shows, yes. So you see that I've released a new episode. Do you understand? Then under each episode, that is for Spotify, you can make your comments. Okay. If there is a poll, you can answer the poll and be sure that I'll reply your comments. Okay. That is for Spotify. Then on the link tree link, if you click the second prompt, that is supposed to be for Apple Podcast, okay, for those that listen on Apple Podcast or those that have iTunes. So once you click on it, it will bring you virtually all the other options. Do you understand? Other hosting platforms in which Anti-Pharmacist Podcast is hosted. You see Apple there. You even see Spotify again for those that use Apple. You see other podcast hosting channels. All right. So you can click on any of those and it will take you to either the web page of that podcast hosting channel or to the app if you have that app on your phone. Okay. That is the second thing. And with Apple Podcast, you cannot comment, unfortunately, but you can leave a review. You can leave a 5 star. You can leave, stars. Then you can give a general review to the show, but not per episode. That is for Apple. Okay. Thank you. I will really appreciate that as well if that is what you use. Then, if you click the third prompt, it used to be Google Podcast before, but like I told you, Google Podcast no longer exists. Now it is YouTube Music. Okay. So you can just go on YouTube Music and search for Anti-Pharmacist Podcast. You will find it and you can listen to it. Then I'm adding other podcast hosting channels to the link tree so that I can take you there directly. But you know that Spotify and Apple Podcasts, they are the most common of all these podcast hosting channels, and YouTube Music now, formerly Google Podcast. So that is why I lay emphasis on them. It's not like you can access the podcast on other podcast hosting channels. And if you know that you don't have any of this on your phone or you are not the podcast person, you can go online, just search, go to Google, go to Bing, any of those browsers. Do you understand? Just put Anti-Pharmacist Podcast there. It will bring it out for you. Any of those podcast hosting channels, their web pages will be available for you. And you can listen there, you can leave your reviews, and you can do all of that. Please, I need you to help me listen to this podcast. I make it for you so that you can be enlightened. Awareness is very important. Okay, ignorance is not a good thing. When you're ignorant of something, you can suffer a lot of things. But when you have knowledge, it is power. Knowledge well used anyway. So awareness is what I try to create with this podcast. Awareness about your medications, about your health, about pharmacy practice in Nigeria and even globally, because I'm a global health enthusiast. So help me to make this dream come true. Let everybody know what they are supposed to know about their drugs. So share, okay, to make everybody aware, to help me carry the dream and vision of this podcast to the ends of the earth. Like I said, we cover like 15 countries now, but I want more. There are 180 countries in the world, guys. What is 15 out of 180? That's a minute percentage, less than 10% of it. So please help me take it higher. Then when I say comment, it is to give me feedback. Oh, what are you not talking about? I expected to hear this. You didn't see anything about it, because I don't know it all. Okay. And there are lots of information in the world. We have to streamline it. These episodes are about less than 30 minutes. I don't think I've had any episode more than 30 minutes since I've started. There are a lot of information to put in, and I try as much as possible to say these things in the simplest way possible for you to understand. So you have to help me by giving me feedback, comment what you learned from it, what you expected to hear, any other extra comment that could help the podcast improve. I would really appreciate it. Okay, leave your reviews. That lets me know that, oh, you like what I'm doing, I should keep doing it, or I should change how I'm doing it. You understand? Then if you follow, the more people follow, the more visibility the podcast gets. The more visibility it gets, the more it pops up on web browsers, on your podcast home pages, the more people hear about it. You're helping me spread the podcast as well. So please follow, subscribe. For those that have podcast hosting channels that can download these things. It doesn't always have to be online. When you listen on podcast hosting channels, you are using your data. But when you download, you can always refer back to it. Do you get? Without using your data, so you can download them as well. This is what I ask of you guys. Please help me grow this podcast. It is something that is dear to my heart. I've always loved enlightening people. I love, bringing them to my space to know what I'm thinking about per time, to teach people. And this is what I'm doing on this podcast. So help me grow it. I would really appreciate your support. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. And like I said, this episode as well is for shout out. I want to give a shout out to my listeners, to my people, to people that have encouraged this podcast since it started last year. It's over a year now. It's about a year and a month since it started. And it hasn't been easy. I'm a one man army at this point, but I know that the podcast will grow to the point where I will have more staff, to help me and do things. So I thank you for just accepting me how I am. There are days that I can't even record because of how busy I am with other things. There are days that I just have to do something, no matter how little, it takes a lot, a lot. Creativity is not a one day job and it's not easy. But when you have your goal ahead of you, that's what you keep looking at and it keeps encouraging you. And the encouragement from people to that appreciate your work, it actually keeps you going when you don't feel like it. So I want to make a shout out to all that have encouraged this podcast from the beginning. I'll start from my first follower of the podcast, which is Famalagbe Adeshola Sholidex. I thank you so much. And he has been encouraging even till now. I really appreciate it. So this shout out is for you first. Number two shout out is to my number one supporter, which is my big sis, Tolulokwe. Thank you so much. She carries this podcast on her head. She's proud of everything I'm doing. She advises me. She's the manager of this podcast. She's the advisor. Tells me, oh, do this, do that. Sit here and all. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Then number three, I want to thank my family, my mom, my brother. They have always been encouraging, giving me things that I need, tips and all. My mom is an ardent follower of my podcast as well. Thank you so much, mommy. Thank you. Bye only. And of course, my cousins, my aunts, the encouraging messages online. Oh, well done, baby. You're doing a great job and all of that. It's been so great. It's been so great and it's been very encouraging. I thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, I'm calling out names because this is personal to me. I'm doing this purposefully so that people will know that I see what they are doing. You know, don't despise the days of small beginnings, the Bible says. And these are the days of small beginnings. It's the people you see at this time that really care about you. It's not the people that now come when everything is rosy. Do you understand? So I want people to know that, oh, so this girl sees what I'm doing. Yes, I see it. Oh, I may not always express it. Of course, I try as much as possible to, but maybe not all the time. But now I want the whole world, all my listeners, to know that these people are supporting their girl, and they should join the train. Okay. Number four. Is that number four now? It's Tofumi, my dear friend. Toast, I call her. She has been very supportive of this podcast, very from the beginning, sharing on our status and all of that. I really appreciate it. Then my other friends, Doing, Zuliat, Uche, thank you so much, so much. They have been doing great. And let me tell you guys, these are guys that have their own endeavors. So Tofumi as a travel blog, she's a travel blogger on Instagram. Her IG handle is Jesu Tofumi Ajayi. Please check it out. She also has a creative blog, Get Creative with JT. So please check it out. Follow her on Instagram. Bejeweled by JT. She does jewelry, crafts and make things. Please follow her on Instagram. And for Uche, she has an health platform on YouTube called Akos Pharmacy. It's majorly on nutrition, anything about the kind of food you eat. I've always said it on this platform that the food that we eat can be medicine for us if we do it well. Yes, please go on Akos Pharmacy, go and subscribe on YouTube. She educates you about your nutrition and she's very consistent at it. Short videos that will not take your time at all. Please do that for her. Thank you. Then I want to thank my supervisor, my mentor, Dr. Benga Akinola. I made an episode on malaria research and all that with Pelumi. I was surprised. He called and you gave me kudos on that episode, and I was so happy because this is the man that supervised me for that project that I did. If it was somebody else, we just think, well, it's my student. Well. But he was so supportive of the podcast and everything. I really appreciate you, sir. God bless you. The next is Pelumi. Pelumi Afolabi, my project partner and friend. She has always been supportive of this podcast from day one, commenting and doing all of that. Thank you. That malaria research and all that episode, I didn't even pre-inform her. I just told her that I want to record, join me. And she did not even give an excuse. She's such a gem. Asiyat Mustafa, she's my senior colleague. We graduated from the same school. She has always been supportive of this podcast. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. You are a gem. God bless you. And I want to thank Mrs. Aremu Lubanke. She was really encouraging when this podcast started. She really, encouraged me and my colleague at that time, Ayomide Ayola. They really encouraged me, listen to the podcast and gave me positive reviews verbally. And I was so happy about it. It gave me more confidence to move on, to continue. I also want to thank my Facebook family, people that have been following me on Facebook, that have been commenting. Number one, Engineer Nelson, thank you so much. You will comment, oh, well done and all. Then number two on Facebook is Daddy, Pastor MB Ajiroba. Thank you so much, sir. Always encouraging, telling me to keep it up and all of that. I told you that this episode is personal to me, and that's why I'm talking about this, okay? I'm mentioning the names. Then Auntie Betty, I was even surprised to see her comments recently. Like, she has always been supporting me. I met Auntie Betty in 2015, guys, in Port Harcourt, and we are still being in touch till now. She's been very supportive of this thing that I'm doing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So much. Then, let me go to my LinkedIn. For my LinkedIn, number one, Dr. Ayobami Diyaolu. He has been so supportive. Every post I make, he will like. Ayobami, is a real gem. Thank you so much, Ayobami. So much. I appreciate you. Then Tofumi on LinkedIn too. Always active. Always resharing my post. Daniel Sonwu, always reposting my post, always liking, commenting. Thank you so much. Zulia Taminikoyi. Thank you so much. Always liking and commenting my sister. They are there. Then I want to thank Chizaram Naji. She sent me one heartwarming comment. She's a young pharmacy student who is doing great things as well. She has been very encouraging. Mr. Stephen Adeyemi. I met this man in 2016 at Drugfield Pharmaceuticals, and he's still in contact till today. And Femi Davis, that's Faith Afolabi. Thank you so much. Thank you. Always been supportive. Then my junior colleague, Olatu Yuruda, thank you so much. I saw your comment. My colleague, Baba Femi Alo, And one commenter, hey Leye, I don't know who he is, but thank you. Guys, I need more of this support. I just thank God for these good people He has surrounded me with. I want you to join these people, because me, I'm like an elephant that never forgets, really. I will know your name, I will know your contribution to my life. Do you understand? And I keep it because there are times that you would need me. I will not have a choice but to just show up for you because I know the impact you've had in my life. So I take note of all these things, guys. And that's what everybody should do, really. People that were there for us when we needed them the most. And this thing they say that even it's your friends and families that do not support your craft, it's strangers that support it most. I beg to differ. If your friends and family are people that really love you and they make impact in your life, they will support your craft. And this is what these people have done. You see people that have not even seen physically since 2015, since 2016, since 2017. But thank God for social media. They're still here, online, just helping their girl, encouraging me, supporting me in their own way. So I really appreciate all of these people. And by God's grace, I will keep doing this. I will not disappoint you guys. It will keep getting better and better from here. Yeah, I think I covered it all. But please, if I didn't mention your name, don't be angry, oh, please. You might have probably skipped my mind, but God knows you, right? So for everybody who has been supporting this podcast up to this point, I just really appreciate you. So that is what I want to do on today's TGIF episode. Oh, I just wanted to pour my heart out there for people to know that your girl is grateful and she still needs more of your support. And I know that you will support me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help. And I say, have a wonderful weekend. Till next time, stay healthy and God bless you.